Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the May 6th, 2026 Mid-Hudson Regional Information Center District Data Coordinator meeting. As always, we will have a chat monitor or chat monitors looking to the chat. If you have any questions, you should always feel free to put them in the chat. If you can please go ahead and sign in with your full name and district, not just your email address, not just your nickname. If you could use actually your full name and your district, we would really appreciate that. Makes it easier for us to make sure we get the attendance correct. If you would be so kind to mute your microphones, turn your cameras off. This meeting is being recorded. If we do have time at the end, we will have a Q&A session, but we do have a very full agenda for you today, starting with this welcome. We're happy to see you here. Thank you for joining us. We will follow this with our usual due dates and timelines, updates and reminders from the special services, testing services, and data team. We will have some things that are new for you. We will look ahead to the horizon. And as I said, if we have time remaining at the end, we will be able to take your questions. So let's get right to the due dates and timelines. Michelle.
Thank you, Helen, and good morning, everyone. There are several dates of interest that we'd like to highlight in the May to July timeframe. Before we get started, please note the links at the top. We've shared the 25-26 SIRS reporting timeline, the reporting roadmap or Gantt chart, and our import schedule. So if you haven't done so already, please be sure to bookmark them when the meeting assets are made available to you. All right, so looking ahead to next week on May 13th, the final teacher certification data is due. Please note that the official New York State out of certification match is performed at level 2 based on data through this deadline. And the SIRS 328 out of certification report will be frozen as of May 15th. Also on May 13th, day calendar, course instructor assignment, and student class entry exit data are due. Districts are expected to continue to report these data through the end of the year as applicable. However, the timeline specifically addresses the need for LEAs to have this data available at level 2 for verification and to make any necessary corrections in the source systems. May 27th is the monthly deadline for demographics, student enrollment, program services, day calendar, and student daily attendance data. The special ed end of year PD data system reports, the VR 10 through 16 collection, is scheduled to open on June 1st. 25-26 data are required to be certified in the PD system by 2 dates. The first is August 10th, 2026, and this is for the VR 10, 13, 15, and 16. And the second is on September 14th, 2026, which is for the VR 11, 12, and 14. On June 3rd, final L and immigrant student counts data are due. These data should reflect the counts at the time of the pull and are used for Title III L and immigrant allocations. Also on June 3rd, the final enrollment data for UPK students are due. The Office of Early Learning will use these data to confirm counts of UPK students enrolled on Beds Day and on Child Count Day, which was March 13th, 2026, for the purpose of verifying final UPK payment amounts. June 24th is the monthly deadline for demographics, student enrollment program services, day calendar, and student daily attendance. On Monday, July 6th, the staff evaluation data collection opens. So stay tuned for more information on staff eval later this hour. SE events data is due on July 8th. This is the last date for the third submission of special education events data for the date range of July 1st to March 31st. And on July 22nd, that is the monthly deadline again for demographics, student enrollment, program services, day calendar, and student daily attendance data. And with that, we will move to our updates and reminders. starting with Sarah Liner from our Special Services team.
Good morning, everybody. Michelle, thank you so much for that. Let's dive into our special service updates and reminders. First up, we're going to talk about the import schedule. A few of these have not started yet. As Michelle mentioned, the PD system has not opened yet for some of this data. So keep an eye out. The source of the data for the imports that we're talking about for Frontline IEP, they're called the Assessment Fact Extract, the End of Year Snapshot, as well as the ESSIA Events Extract. The assessment and COSIF auto import and the end of year snapshot is set to start June 1st with import number 21. The ESSIA events, however, have already been uploading, as you know. First up, SPP Indicator 7. Anytime you see SPP, that stands for State Performance Plan, meaning your district is on that rotational schedule for that particular indicator, and you only have to worry about certifying it once every 6 years is the current rotational schedule. So only the districts that you see on your screen here have Indicator 7 due for the 25-26 school year. Certification date for Indicator 7, which is the Preschool Child Outcome Summary, or the COSIF, is August 10th, 2026. And again, the data source for this is Frontline from the Assessment Fact Extract. Next up, Indicator 11. This is a part of your ESSIA events. All districts are responsible for reporting this information. Formerly, it was an SPP indicator, but now everybody's got to do it. Certification date for the Child Find Timely Evaluations and Eligibility is September 14th, 2026. And as I just said, it's already importing into Level 0 for you and available for viewing in the PD system. Indicator 12, very similar to Indicator 11, but this is for new referrals from early intervention to CPSE. Certification date for this is September 14th, 2026. And again, it is already importing into Level 0. And again, all districts are responsible for submitting this data quarterly throughout the year, as well as certifying once we get to that date in September. Next up, parentally placed non-public students, the VR14. So all districts are responsible for certifying this information. However, if you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't have any non-pubs within my district, then it's a lot easier for you. You just have to certify that the number of students is 0. Same certification date as the other ESSIA events, September 14th, 2026. And this is already available in Level 0 and the PD system for you. End of year snapshot, or the VR13. This is something that all districts have to do every year. This is for your preschool children who were provided special education programs and services throughout the school year, the 25-26 school year. The certification date for this is August 10th, 2026. And this is one of those that will not start importing into Level 0 until June 1st, and it's not yet available into the PD system. So just keep it on your radar for that June timeframe. SPP Indicator 8, the Parent Involvement Survey. So this is not coming out of Frontline. The Potsdam Institute and NYSED reaches out to districts directly who have this due. But yes, SPP, so only a certain number of districts have that due, and that those are the districts that you see on your screen. SPP indicators 13 and 14 are done simultaneously for only the districts that you see on your screen. Again, this is another indicator or other indicators that do not come out of Frontline, so you will be reached out directly by NYSED on how to complete these indicators. Verification report number 10. This is the report of students with disabilities exiting special education. This one, however, is available to be viewed in the PD system. I just checked. However, you might not see much data as not a lot of students have exited so far. Typically, a lot towards the end of the school year, you will see. But the certification for this is August 10th, 2026. All districts are responsible for certifying this information. And I just want to make one important note about this. The data source for the VR10 is coming from two different places. The type of disability information is coming out of Frontline IEP. However, the exiting and enrollment information is coming out of your student management system. So we sort of have to work together on this to make sure all of the data is correct and updated and available for certification. The suspension data, also known as the PD8, all districts are required to certify their suspension data. This is full day suspensions for students with disabilities. And the certification date for this is August 21st, 2026. This information can be stored in Frontline. Not all districts store that information in Frontline, so it just depends on where your district keeps this data. Just keep in mind, if you are looking for this data in Frontline currently, it is not yet available. Typically, we don't see that available until the end of the school year, closer to maybe just after the school year, but Frontline will make a notification in your messages tab when it is available. VR16, the coordinated early intervening services and the comprehensive side of that. The list has not yet come out from NYSED for districts who are required or voluntarily report this data. So do keep an eye out for that. We will be posting that hopefully in our newsletter once the announcement comes out. But this is not applicable to all districts. Again, only those who are required by NYSED to report this or voluntarily report this data. But the certification date for that is August 10th, 2026. And if you're unfamiliar with what exactly that means, it just means your district is voluntarily or required using 15% of your IDEA funds to provide these services that you see on your screen. So just to wrap up these important certification dates for you to remember, August 10th, we've got all of the ones listed there for you. So that's your first special ed certification date coming up. August 21st, that's your PD8 suspension data. And then finally, September 14th is your SE event data. Migration deadline. So you in the data world, you obviously understand migration is really, really important. So maybe keep these on the calendar before you keep those certification dates on your calendar, because if you don't get that data updated and migrated by these dates, it's not going to make it to the PD system in time. So do keep these in mind. August 5th, that's the last date to migrate your end of year snapshot. COSIF assessment, if that's applicable to you, the CS data, if that's applicable, as well as the VR15 and VR16, because those certification dates are the following Monday. August 19th, 2026, that's the last day to migrate your demographic, enrollment, and program fact information. We don't want to forget about those errors. They're equally important. And then last, September 9th, 2026, that's the last day to migrate your SE event data for the following Monday, SE event certification, September 14th. And thank you all so much for joining me today. Have a good one.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And we are going to toss this over to, let's see, Lori from Testing Services this morning.
Good morning, everybody. Next. For 3 through 8 operational, we have a little over a week left to the testing window. Following that, you'll have a week to get them scored and enter any non-tested codes by May 22nd. For the paper, 3 through 8 and NYSA slot, the NYSA slot can be administered until May 22nd. Constructed responses must then be scored and the answer sheets returned to us for scanning by June 5th. Next. And for NYSA, the first contact surveys and the rostering must be completed in order to generate the testlets. Try to remember, testlets have a 24-hour lag between first contact surveys and their generation. So you're going to need to account for that 24-hour window. And for June Regents, the last of the answer sheets, rosters, and non-secure booklets are being delivered today to the districts. Please, please review the materials and make sure you have the correct answer sheets for the correct tests. For example, life science versus living environment, or the new chemistry versus the old chemistry. Make sure you have your out of districts that you need. And if anything's missing or incorrect, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're happy to get you the right stuff. That's it.
Thank you so much, Lori. All right, data collection and reporting. I think we're going to start off today with Pam.
Okie dokie. I was going to say no, but all right. So you're familiar with these slides, and our numbers
Could
have.
I just intervene? I'm sorry, Pam. There was something that came up in the chat, but it looks like John Zaotis is taking care of that. There was an issue in Kite that Mike Latino was reporting back on. So sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Nope, that's fine. I'm just as I was saying, you're familiar with this slide now. And the purpose of this slide is to bring to your attention that when we're talking about data cleanliness and we see 3,000 errors across our region, that's an indicator that we're not there yet. So please take a look at your level 1C reports. We're going to go into a little more detail on the different errors that we're seeing. That information needs to be cleaned up so that you will be able to certify that data as accurate. And please keep at it. If you haven't had a chance to take a look, now is better than waiting till later, while you still have folks there that haven't left for the summer that can help you and assist to get the correct information in there. Okay, so you can see on the nicest queue, we're in good shape. We're at 0, which is where we like to be. So that's a good thing. And with the student digital resources, our number continues to climb a bit, and we're over 50%. So that doesn't mean that you can't continue to report additional ones of those should that information become available to you. Okay, so let's move on to the details of the level 1C errors. So the errors are up to over 3,000 from about 2,500. Keep in mind, an error message means the record will not migrate to level 2. So that's over 3,000 instances of data that does not make it to the data warehouse and will not be part of your certification. So it's imperative that you look at those and clean those up. So we have significant errors in missing attendance. We're over 2,500. And these could be related to missing calendar, incorrect day types, or simply missing attendance records. So please take a look to see if you have any of those situations in your district, and clean those up as best as possible. We have, since we're in the middle of the CIA work targeting that upcoming deadline, we have 194 student class detail records are being reported for courses with no course instructor assignment. Okay, so that's indicative of the fact that something is missing there. So please, again, take a look at your level 1C reports to see if any of those pertain to you. I'm going to just, the rest are listed there. And, they're just there to remind you that there are some significant areas that need cleanup. So take a look at those. And we're going to move on to our warning messages. We have over 8,000 warning messages. some of these are simply that they are warnings. Everything's actually okay, and you don't need to worry about it, but you do need to look at it because some of these warnings are indicative of errors. Okay, for example, the 15 crisis code um, impacts, crisis impact codes are being flagged because they were reported last year as well. Guidance from state ed said they can only be reported the first year that the student enters the district. That would indicate that those 15 are not, in fact, correct. So we have grade 9 mismatches, grade 9 entry date mismatches. Can't talk. And so, again, indicative of the fact that there is a problem there. Now, more so than that, we have 45 students reported with a grade 9 entry date who are currently in grade 7 or 8. That is likely incorrect. So again, take a look at your report to see if these pertain to you. And the other area I'm going to just highlight here are service provider beds code that do not match the enrollment location. It's coming down, but there's still work to be done. So take a look at those if, as soon as possible. And the other area is the foster students and the homeless students who do not have a free lunch record reported for them. So that's 230 students who are absolutely eligible for free lunch who are not being reported. Now, remember, this will impact their ability to receive the EBT benefits. So it's critical that we, that those records are updated so that the students and their families are eligible and receive their benefits. Okay.
Pam, there is a question in the chat from Stacy about how to enter a phone number with 0. It seems like
Okay.
it is not working. I don't know if she means, Stacy, do you mean with all zeros? It will probably get an error, but in certain circumstances, it is the correct answer, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the correct format based on state ed is to report the area code followed by 7 zeros. This was introduced in order to protect the privacy of families who need to suppress that information. So it should be used in limited circumstances. I know that through the years, some SMSs when a student exits the district, that they're linked to their home address and therefore phone numbers is then reported as zeros. State ed is aware of that, but anyway, yeah, I think we've answered the question about the format. Okay. I see there's another question. So, Stacy, if you write in a ticket, we can, work on the details of what might be going wrong with the 0 phone numbers.
So Steve asked, just to say this one out loud,
Yeah.
Steve Caldwell from Minnesink is asking for homeless students who are out of district placed. So the home district doesn't provide meals for them. Does the home district report a free lunch code for those students?
Yeah, I mean, the district is the accountable place, so the district should be reporting the free lunch record. You should also be communicating with your BOCES for those full-time students. Well, they would be out of district place, yes. District should be reporting that because the out-of-district placements do not report those program service records. Okay, you're welcome, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. You're welcome. Are we on the next slide?
Let's go. Let's move on to the next slide. I can do some more nagging. Sorry. Okay, so here's where we stand on the UAS errors. We've made some progress. This was first brought to your attention last month. And we brought some of the numbers down. So thank you for your attention to this. We've dropped from over 8,000 errors down to 7,800, so that's progress. We'll take it. It's nothing to brag about yet, but it's better so we can enjoy that accomplishment for the moment. And then, of course, get right back to it. So, and you can see the indicators by the arrows of what direction that those numbers are going within each of the categories. The disappearing students are going up, and the false dropouts are going up. The false dropouts are the ones that really could be beneficial to take care of, because if you have any of those, that says that you're reporting it as a dropout, but they're enrolled somewhere else. So you could potentially go back and change their exit code and not have that dropout be counted against your district. So that's the biggest carrot I have to dangle to encourage you to take a look at these. So, all right, so that's UIAS. And let's see. I think that unless there's any other questions, I'm going to pass it over to Michelle.
Thank you, Pam. As I mentioned during the due dates and timeline segment, the out of cert data is due May 13th at noon. So we're just a week out at this point. Please continue to monitor this data up through the deadline. As part of the match process, NYSED will perform a match on the last primary teacher assigned to the course section at the time of the poll. To review and verify this data, the CSRS 328 report identifies teachers teaching out of certification when the certified status field is set to no. The CSRS 329 report can be used to review teachers' current certification areas, and the crosswalk shows how those certifications align with state course codes. Links to the report guides and crosswalk are included on the slide and will also be shared after the meeting. If you'd like a bit more guidance, we've linked the quick reference guide, which walks you through how the match process works and reviews several troubleshooting tips when you encounter teachers who are listed as teaching out of certification. You can also find this quick reference guide under the staff section of in the Data Warehouse Resource Library on our website. Last but not least, there are 2 sessions remaining in our teacher certification workshop series scheduled for tomorrow, May 7th at 1:30 and 2:15. If you're interested, be sure to sign up soon while space is still available. I'll share the registration link in the chat now, so if you don't have to wait for the meeting materials. So let me just do that and send that just so that you can have that as you need that. All right. The 30-minute virtual meetings, which are designed to address questions, assist with determining why a teacher is appearing out of certification, and discuss possible resolutions. If you are a participant in our mentorship program this year, please schedule time for this review with your mentor instead of booking one of these meetings. All right, on June 3rd at noon, final L and immigrant student counts are due. These data should reflect the counts at the time of the poll, and as I mentioned earlier, they're used for Title III L and immigrant allocations. To verify, use the CSRS 652 Annual Title III Allocation L Immigrant Counts Summary Report, located in the Annual Outcomes folder at Level 2. Although a report guide is not currently available for the CSRS 652, the screenshot on the slide shows summary counts for each group, and then the hyperlinks allow you to drill down to view student level data. All right, speaking of L reporting, now is a good time to ensure all reporting is complete, accurate, and up to date. And the L Quick Reference Guide is a valuable resource to support this work. It includes guidance on L program services, L exits, which typically are entered in August when the results of the NICE slot assessments are made available. And the Quick Reference Guide also speaks to L verification and reports. All of our quick reference guides are also available in the Data Warehouse Resource Library. We've added a quick reference section to make it easy to find all at once, but you can also find them located under the appropriate subject area too. Okay, and with that, I'm going to pass things over to Sam.
Thank you, Michelle. Good morning, everybody. So I'm going to speak to you today about the pre-K deadline, which is June 3rd by noon to migrate. I mean, can you believe that that's less than a month away? So they really do sneak up on us, these deadlines. So on the SIRS 333, it does show the snapshot dates of March 20th and June 5th as well. Now, just keep in mind, these are not the migration or the MHRAC deadlines, but merely the dates where the data was captured as a snapshot. Um, so please have all your pre-K data accurate, migrated by that June 3rd noon to be included in the data poll because NICED's going to be taking the highest count on either Beds Day, October 1st, or the Child Counts Day, which is March 13th, for pre-K funding. So I did also link the memo that goes into further detail with coding for UPK in case you're wondering about that. And just keep in mind, this is the final data pull for this, and it directly affects your funding. So be sure to spend some time verifying that it is accurate. Okay, so moving over to staff assignment. This is typically an area that's underreported, but it doesn't have to be. Did you know that there's 6 pages of potential staff assignment codes that can be reported in the SIRS manual? So just think, do you have assistant superintendents in your district, directors, business officials, treasurer, mentor teachers, trainer teachers, teachers on special assignment, chair people, counselors, social workers, psychologists? These are just some of the more popular ones, if I will. I mean, the list goes on. So if you don't have these staff members reported on staff assignment, then this could be an area that's underreported for your district. There is also a level 1, that data quality report card. It does have a section on there for staff to help you verify this data. And I'm just going to pass it to Pam briefly to speak a little bit more about this.
Okay, thank you, Sam. All right, we've received some information from SED regarding the reporting of these required staff assignment codes. And required means that if you have them, you're required to report them. Okay, you're required to report all of them, but these SED is paying particular attention to. So in the area of principals, looking at the data that was sent to us from SED, you're doing quite well with that. We only had one missing principal, and that district has been notified. Even if you were not the one district that we spoke with, please review this information at level 2, especially if you've had a change in that position this year. Although the box will be checked that you have reported a principal, you should ensure that there is a principal assigned throughout the entire school year. Okay, make sure that any transition is reported accurately. Next, some guidance on school counselors. Like principals, this is a straightforward requirement. Per regulations, every school district must provide all students in kindergarten through 12th grade access to a certified school counselor. Ensure that your staff snapshot and staff assignment records are reported for counselors assigned to each location. Remember, if a counselor may be shared between buildings and therefore should have more than one staff assignment record, and you should be reporting one for each building. Okay, their staff snapshot record would have a location of district if they're assigned to more than one building. Okay, and I'd like to continue our conversation on the topic of social workers, which are not currently required for each school, although there is proposed legislation to change this. As with counselors, you may have social workers shared between buildings who might need more than one staff assignment record. Okay, reading my notes on librarians. Anybody catching the puns yet? Per state regulations, districts are required to have a library media specialist at all secondary schools. Currently, we have 30 districts who do not have reported librarians at their secondary level schools. Since librarians are not reported through staff assignment, we will be sending an email shortly with information on how to report librarians, just as a reminder. Please review and ensure that updates are made as needed. If you recall, it's reported through course instructor assignment, but the details will be included in the email. And finally, To ensure healthy reporting of all staff, you'll want to review your nurses. Although not explicitly required by law in every single building, the need for specialized care for students with disabilities and legal requirements for IDEA and Section 504 make having a nurse in every building more or less an implicit requirement. We have over 20 schools within the region that do not have a school nurse assigned. As with counselors and social workers, ensure that multiple assignment records are reported for nurses assigned to more than one building. Okay, so that's my punny information for this morning. And I see some questions.
Yeah, Mike Latino had a question about whether anyone had reporting issues with teachers who became staff assigned in the middle of the school year. I answered with basically what you were saying, Pam, about if there's a teacher who has more than one assignment, that they should have then more than one staff assignment record. But I'm not sure that that's what Mike was asking. It might be
Yeah.
that the teacher came in the middle of the year, right?
Nope. He says that's not what he meant. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, you do
So-
want to pay attention to the dates on the staff assignment records. Yeah, Mike, I for the sake of time, I'm going to say maybe we'll take this offline, just send a ticket.
Yeah.
It might also be that informational error that says there's a teacher with an assignment record or something like that.
Yeah, I
Change
mean, teachers
areas.
can be assigned as a
Right.
department chair, and if they were,
We'll have to look into it.
yeah,
Yeah,
we can look
we'll-
into that offline, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry to push you off on that, but I think we need to look into the details a little bit more before we can give an accurate answer.
Put in a ticket, Mike, and we'll respond to you
Yeah,
for sure.
okay. All right. So, but I'm glad it brought up questions because, yeah, these details do need to be worked out in order to ensure that the data is reported accurately. So I think I'm going to flip it back over to Sam.
Thank you. Okay, so moving over to our What's New section, I'm going to talk about our task list for May. So have you ever wondered what should you be working on this month? This task list does help answer that, and it's available at the link. So this month's spotlight is our National Foster Care Month, and you can read more about it at all the links based on county as well. And as usual, those BOCES specific tasks are highlighted in coral as they go through. Okay, so for May, the Level 1 directory has been updated for this month, and we are releasing 7 new report guides with 2 updated guides. So the data quality report card guide was updated due to an additional section at the bottom of the report, which some users found confusing. So there's some more notes in there with that. And you'll notice most of these guides are in relation to NYSESLOT because we are in the middle of assessment season. So I also did include the Nextera export report guide. And as usual, you will need those passkeys, which are shared here at the top, to access these guides. And you can share those with other school staff, like your teachers or whoever might find these guides helpful. It's not just for DDCs. Okay, and so with that, I'm going to pass it over to Michelle. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Speaking of resources and support, just a quick revisit from last month. So if you're expecting a new DDC, CIO, or have a staff member who needs support with SIRS reporting, our data reporting mentorship program is a great option. Enrollment for the 26-27 cohort is now open. The program includes monthly Zoom sessions on state requirements, best practices, and common challenges, along with one-on-one mentorship tailored to your district's needs. Topics include SIRS data flow, error resolution, reporting tools, and strategies to stay on track. While the MHRAC service request window closed on April 29th, districts can still join through a budget amendment. Please reach out to Data Warehouse at mhrac.org, and we'll be happy to prepare a proposal, which will then need approval from your superintendent or business official. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or want more information. With that, I will pass things over to Helen.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm going to stay on this slide for just a moment because when I bring the next slide in, there's going to be a video on it that should start automatically. And what that video is about is a new feature that we've added to the Data Warehouse Resource Library. Just a little while ago, Michelle mentioned the quick reference guides that you can find them in the quick reference guide folder in the reference library and also within each folder where they're pertinent. But we have put a new feature on the Data Warehouse Resource Library, which enables you to search so that you don't have to go fishing for what you're looking for, because we have so many resources there now that it's gotten a little bit difficult to find what you're looking for sometimes. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to the next slide, and it should play a video automatically about that new search function and how to use it. In order to search the Data Warehouse Resource Library, enter your keyword into the search box here. We're going to search on the term graduation or grad. So you can see that as you're typing, it's filtering down the accordion items that either have the word grad or graduation in the title of it, or these two don't have it in the title. However, if you open them up, you will see that there's something within there that is listed as graduate. And this one right here, you see number 3, resource guide, graduates. So that's how you search. In order to get back to the full list, you just take your search term out and the full list is revealed for you again. And you can always just sort of poke around. If you know what you're looking for, you can go ahead and do that. But again, if you weren't sure where to look and you needed to add a location, you could start to enter your search term, and as you're typing, it's going to bring up that search term for you. Okay, so that should be pretty straightforward. Have fun searching the Data Warehouse Resource Library. Okay. So last month we mentioned that we were adding some help files to the level 0 help files area. We added a couple of more for you this month that are particularly pertinent to the work that you're doing at end of year. So we have those eScholar templates that tell you exactly what you are reporting and how and where it comes from. And then the crosswalk. So this is all about those course to certification codes. So as you're working on your on finalizing your teacher certification data, you can look at that. We would love to hear your feedback on this. If you've ever used these files, if you think that there should be more things updated, we do have a survey. It's exactly 3 questions. So if you want to take that level 0 survey, please go ahead and do that. Last month, we also had our census data workshop with Dr. Brombos, and we'd love to hear your feedback on that as well. I think we had about 30 some odd registrants for that, which was wonderful, and it was a very densely packed 90 minutes with census data. So if you'd like to give us feedback about how that went for you, we already have had a couple of responses on that. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes. So if you'd like to give us feedback on that, please go ahead and take that survey. And it also does help us schedule resources and courses and training sessions for you that you will find most helpful. Okay, so let's go ahead and look ahead. Well, let's see. We do have a question from, I see that there were a bunch of questions, but we have one from Arlene in Tuxedo who asks, will the RIC once again be providing an end of year report verification grids in advance of SEDs? Maybe not in advance, because
Yeah.
we don't get that, we can only really update that once we have SED's grid. But we are planning on providing our version of it, at very least along with it,
Yeah.
so that
I-
you know who is affected by all of the, or who should be looking at all of the reports, not just that they should be reported.
Yeah, I think the way to get a leg up on this is to kind of go to last year's grid and use that as a starting point. There may be some changes. There are some new reports, and we don't know which category they're going to end up in. But last year's report should be, accurate for the reports that have been around for forever. So that's a starting point. But no, we can't produce our grid until we actually receive state eds. Okay,
Great, thanks, Pam.
sure.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about staff eval, seeing what time of year it is. Michelle.
Thanks, Helen. As we look ahead to the 25-26 staff evaluation collection, a few things to keep in mind. The collection opens on July 6th, and the data is due on Friday, October 23rd, which for us means that it must be migrated to level 0 by noon on Wednesday, October 21st. Most importantly, you'll want to determine if you're working under Education Law 3012D, 3012E, or both. Yes, fun twist. In some LEAs, there are two current applicable plans, one for teachers and one for principals, each under different education laws. Based on information shared with us to date by NYSED, most districts in our region will still be working under 3012D, but NYSED's Office of Teacher and Leader Development, also known by their email, eval data or educator eval, is still currently receiving and working to approve APPR plans. Once all plans are approved, they will make evaluation data summaries available to each LEA. We will discuss some resources to assist you in just a moment, but first, in terms of preparation, there are a couple of items that you can do now. Start by confirming that all teachers and principals who are subject to APPR are included in Staff Snapshot. Even though staff evaluation isn't due until October, Staff Snapshot must be finalized by the end of the data reporting year in August. Okay. Additionally, it's important to ensure that all required observations have been scheduled and completed by the end of the school year in June. Okay, so as promised, here are some staff evaluation resources you may find useful. The first two items listed in the box on the left, the infographic and Module 1 of our staff evaluation microlearning series, focus on key dates, key due dates in the staff evaluation data collection process for the 25-26 school year. You can access these materials using the links or QR code included with your meeting assets, and they are also available in the resource library on our website. Additional modules in a microlearning series will be released over the coming months to further support your understanding of the process. Some of these dates are summarized in the table below the links. Please note the June 15th to August 28th date range. This time frame begins prior to the opening of the collection and refers to the Educator Evaluation Implementation Certification Form, which must be signed by the superintendent and board president. The form is accessed and submitted through the SED Monitoring and Vendor Performance System on NYSED's business portal. The commissioner must then approve documentation confirming that a school district has fully implemented the standards and procedures for conducting educator evaluations in accordance with Education Law 3012D and/or Education Law 3012E as applicable under the rules of the Board of Regents. Additionally, this collection does require its own certification, and the 25-26 Statement of Confirmation of Staff Evaluation, Implementation, and Rating Verification Report, that's a mouthful, is due October 30th. This form is required to be signed by the LEA's certifying official who verifies the data provided in the staff evaluation rating verification reports generated by Level 2. The certification form will be available and must be submitted through the application business portal in the same location, the SED monitoring and performance location, as that educator evaluation form. For more information about 3012E, also known as the STEPS plan, refer to the link located in the box on the right. This NYSED webpage includes a wide range of guidance documents and webinars to support your work. As noted, LEAs must adopt a STEPS plan under 3012E by June 30th of the 2032 school year. Okay. Were there any questions?
Lisa had a question about who actually does the certification, the superintendent or the assistant sup of HR. I think it's the sup.
It's the superintendent if you're talking about that first form that where you're confirming that you have an APPR plan in place. You're
And
welcome.
typically, that's true of any of the actual certifications. The theory is that the district data coordinators make sure that all of the data is accurate, so that when it's presented to the superintendent for certification, they feel confident in certifying that. Okay, so let's see.
And I'll move on to Helen, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Check it out. The next meeting that we're going to have, our next DDC meeting in June, is the last one of the 25-26 school year. So if you have not registered for that, you can do so by this link in the slide deck, or the registration links are always included in the Data News newsletters that we send out monthly, which we will be sending out sometime within a day or two after this DDC meeting, so that you can download these meeting assets as well as watch the video. So for next year, we've already had a number of people sign up for some or all of these meetings. Here are our meeting dates for the 26-27 school year. And I think we actually managed to make them all Tuesdays. So we had a couple of Wednesdays this school year, today being one of them. And but next year, I think we did figure out a way to make them consistently on Tuesdays. So you can go ahead and register for any or all of those at your earliest convenience. The Data Warehouse Help Desk, these are our hours. Not only are we closed on weekends, but we're also closed on holidays and other special occasions. One of which is this Friday, May 8th. Ulster BOCES has a superintendent's conference, which the Mid-Hudson RIC is also a part of Ulster BOCES. So we are taking part in that superintendent's conference day. So if you're always free to put in a ticket, but if you put in a ticket on Friday, you'll probably get a response the following week, Monday. So just be aware of that. And also we are closed on Memorial Day, and so are you. So don't work, go out and enjoy the beach. And we will be at the beach, definitely. So for just finishing up with our regular contacts and links and resources, should you need them, we do have a few minutes left. So if there are any additional questions, now's your chance. You can feel free to put them in the chat if you like, or go ahead and unmute yourself and ask them, and we can have a conversation. Thanks, Karen. We appreciate you. We appreciate everyone coming to these meetings. We know that they are full of information. They're densely packed, and sometimes you have to go back and look over. So thank you. We're happy to provide the information that we can. Does anyone else have any questions? There's a question from Charity. She asks, the SIRS 328 says that courses are updated daily. However, I have a teacher whose NVision info was corrected last week, but is still showing as not certified, and that she migrated to level 1 on Monday. So who has an answer for that?
I was thinking to check the domains that were migrated, Charity, as well, to make sure like course instructor assignment, courses, were all migrated. But if you sent, okay, good, you migrated all domains. Because the 328 does update daily.
Yeah, it
I know
does
that,
update daily based on
Yep,
the last migration.
right.
But you're saying it's a teacher whose Envision data was corrected. So that means
Mm-hmm.
something that affected staff snapshot, I'm assuming. And
right.
you verified that that correction made its way to level 0 in staff snapshot. Some of these things obviously are intricate
Yes.
Yeah,
and it's
it depends on
following the trail. So we
Mm-hmm.
might have to
depends
look
on
at it
what you were.
individually.
Yeah, it depends on what you were updating. For example, if you were setting a special ed indicator or an ELL indicator, that comes out of School Tool, even though
Right.
it seems to be something related specifically to the teacher. So, science certification in Envision. That's
Oh,
not going to matter
That's
because,
not something that comes from Envision into
right.
to level 0. The certification areas themselves come from the Office of Teaching Initiatives, which is reflected on the CERS 329, each teacher's specific certification area. And the CERS 329, that area, even though it's the Office of Teaching Initiatives, not under our purview, that part of the CERS 329 is updated weekly. But it would have to be something that the Office of Teaching Initiatives, Helen put in the chat, also known as TEACH or OTI, they have to have that information. It has to be updated by them in order for that to be reflected in level 2.
So if it's a new certification, you may want to reach out to the Office of Teaching Initiatives to
Right.
ensure that they have documented that information in
Exactly.
your system.
Yes.
And thank you, Lisa Perry, for your input on that as well. So great. Anyone else?
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna call it a day then. Just a reminder to the BOCES DDCs, please do stay on. We have a meeting following this at 10 o'clock. And remember, June is the last meeting. There are no DDC meetings in July or August. So our next meeting is July 2nd, and we will see you then.